Thank you. Can I hear a little commotion for the dress? A little bit?
Hi, welcome back. It has been a while. I know, I took a break from all social media and I spent my whole summer doing kind of a little bit of an experiment. I had noticed that all the books that I was reading that were super hyped on Book Talk and Book Twitter, I wasn't liking at all. This isn't to say that I'm not like all the other booktubers, I read differently. No, it's just that my tastes have changed radically in the past year, and a lot of the books that I was reading, I stopped halfway. I was just bored. Either that or the writing wasn't doing it for me. Oh, okay. And so I thought I could take a break. So I disappeared from social media, from BookTube and Book Twitter especially, for 3 months, for the whole summer. And I had a great reading summer. I read a lot of books that you would never see me read, like last year. So I'm going to be talking about them. Most of these books you probably will never see again on another booktube channel because they're so random. I don't know where I found them, where did they come from, I have no idea. I read them though, they were great. Let's start with the only book that I let myself be convinced to buy. I was swept by the hype and I bought it because I really wanted to read it. It's One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. It was so nice. It was the perfect cheesy American rom-com. It had all the cliches that you could find in one of those movies, but better because this is modernized. All the characters are super fun and they are very three-dimensional, and the romance was so incredibly cute. This was a solid, cute, pick-me-up book. It was very nice. I'll admit. This one gets Alice approved. Next two books are kind of linked, so I'm going to be reviewing them kind of together. The first one is a classic. It's A Room with a View by Forster. I love Forster. I read Maurice, it's one of my favorite books of all time. My favorite classic by far, like English classic. And so I read A Room with a View. This is a classic. Like when people think of classic books, this is what they're talking about. This is like social commentary and flat characters and no plot. But it was interesting. And so then I read, ooh, can you see it? Oh, okay. This is Sex and Vanity by Kevin Kwan, the author of the Crazy Rich Asians trilogy, which I love. This book, it's the same exact plot and character names. Like, it's supposed to be a retelling, but it's the same exact story with barely more flavor, like a little bit spicier. So it's modernized, it's set in America, and this book was caged by this plot and storyline, and it lacked all the fun that could have been if at one point we could have just escape the cage of being a Room with a View retelling. So it was okay. This lighting isn't doing it for me though. Did it change something? Absolutely not. Ooh, then I read the book that was supposed to be my summer book, but it ended up being a disappointment. This is The Last Summer, or L'ultima estate by Andrea Simano, who wrote Call Me By Your Name and a bunch of other books. I read almost all of his books and I was kind of excited, and then it was 150 pages. It was like the first 2 chapters of a book that could have been. This could have been such a cool summer mystery with a paranormal touch, and then it wasn't. Why? Why did it stop writing? This felt so lazy. This could have been so interesting. I'm disappointed. Oh yeah, do you like my new hair? My grandma says that I look like toffee, like chocolate. Yeah, that's exactly what I look like. I took my yearly trip to visit my dad in Switzerland, and as always, I wanted to brush up my French because he lives in the French part of Switzerland. And so I bought some books and mangas in French. I know, so quirky. So I read one, Blue Flag by Kaito. Yeah, Kaito. So this was sold to me as a queer love triangle. And that's it. That's a queer love triangle set in high school, and talks about anxieties and expectations that are put on these high school students while they're trying to navigate love and what they're supposed to do with themselves and with their lives. It was so cute. This was adorable. I loved it. It's only the first volume. I know that a lot of people say that the ending is kind of like muddled and confusing, and I am curious to see. I'm very curious to see how it's going to end up, so I'm going to buy the second volume ASAP. Then, if you've been on my channel, you'd know that I have last year I bought the second volume of a manga, and I never found the first volume that I found now. This is Dans les sons du vent by HEYYYY. It talks about, it took me a while to understand, but it talks about a guy that lives in Iceland, but I think he's half Japanese, and he can talk to... Hello! And he can talk to mechanical objects, such as like cars and toasters, and he solves mysteries. He's a private investigator, even though he's really young. And the thing is, this has beautiful drawings. It is so packed with nudes, like nudity, gratuitous, beautiful, like artistic nudity, but I wasn't expecting that. But it's an awesome story. I think I want to continue, yeah. And then the book that I got, this here, did I buy this because it had vampire in the title, and a vampire, like a cute vampire, and another cute girl on the cover? Absolutely yes. Was it super fun? Absolutely correct. I don't think you can find this book outside of French-speaking countries because it's by a French author. Actually, I think it's by a Swiss author. It talks about a girl who finds out that she's a witch, but she's a very weak witch. So she cannot do anything aside from like reject other supernatural powers. And she gets thrown into this mystery because there are these organizations like the magical FBI that it's investigating some crimes and some gruesome murders, actually. And it's super fun. It has a lot of tense scene, and the main character is awesome. She's sassy in the right way, like not just for being the sassy main character. No, she's actually really intelligent. And I really appreciate it, so I bought the second volume already. I cannot wait to start it. It's actually written in such a difficult French because it has so much slang, like internet slang, so I had to do a lot of research. Sorry, the cardigan had to go. Hair up, it's so hot! The next book that I read that I don't have here is Anyway the Wind Blows by Rainbow Rowell. This was a gift. And it was the perfect, I think, conclusion to this trilogy that didn't need to be a trilogy. I really didn't like the second book. I think this book was really fun because it had a plot, actually, multiple plot lines that were equally fun, I think. There were also a lot of goats, and I love goats, so double the fun. Then I read a book that it's all the rage here in Italy because it's by an Italian author. I don't know how much of an international following he has, but he's super popular here. He, I think, won a national, truly super important prize for his, I think it's called 7 Brief Physics Lessons. I'm going to put it right here. I, however, read his other book called Helgoland. It's about quantum physics, and it's by Carlo Rovelli. It's a fairly accessible book about quantum physics, about the history of quantum physics, that it's fairly new and recent, and it's written as a semi-narrative. So it talks about Heidelberg and the history of the island Helgoland. And it was super interesting. I love Carlo Rovelli's writing because it's very accessible to someone who is in STEM, just like I am. This book was very interesting. Here comes the books that I would have never picked up if not for my partner's recommendation. The first one is The Luzon Defense by Vladimir Nabokov, who you may know as the writer of Lolita. So, fun fact about me, I love books about chess. I love seeing chess in movies and in books, just like the Queen's Gambit I loved. And so I picked up this book, and it's about a genius chess player who gets obsessed with chess to the point that he goes into madness. It's about mental illness, it's about chess, but it's also about Russia. It was a trip because you're in the head of this poor old man at the end who suffers from mental illness that got uncured, and nobody pays attention to him the way that he needs to. And so you're in his head and his thoughts get muddled, and so does the writing. It's so cleverly written. Nabokov was truly a master while writing this. The second book is Life is Elsewhere by Milan Kundera. Okay, so let's talk about this. Milan Kundera is really lucky that they're good at writing, because you can feel the author saying, "Look how good I am. Look at this phrase. So beautiful. Can you see my prose? Oh my god, you're going to love this book." All throughout the novel. It talks about a poet. It talks about revolution. Everybody in this book is kind of an awful person for different reasons. And it's a book about grey and awful people. But it's written by someone who has an ego, I can tell, and the author is very lucky that they're very good, because else? Then I read Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. I forgot I read this. I literally forgot I read this. I was on a tangent because I also love books about wedding planners. Can't remember a single thing about this book. It was okay. It was meh. It was forgettable though. I'm very terribly sorry. Can't remember a thing about this book. Couldn't remember that I read it. Then I read a book from one of my favorite authors, and it's Fair Play by Tove Jansson. This tells the story of two old ladies. They're both artists. They are very conflicting characters. So one is very heavy-handed and the other one is more calm. And they live in an island, like a remote island, together. It's made of really short stories. Some of them are really calm and quiet. Some of them are kind of boring. Some of them are so powerful. The one with the puppeteer was wonderful. It's about death. It's about living together with someone. And it's so cute. And the fact that Tove Jansson lived on an island with her artist partner, another woman, it's just so... Tove Jansson is the cottagecore sapphic lady of my dreams. What would I give to meet her? Just like, I don't know. She is my inspiration in life. I would want to be just like her one day. And then let's end on a meh note. I read The Good Girls by Claire Eliza Bartlett. This was supposed to be a kind of mystery with set within a high school with like this, are these popular girls the bad ones, or are the losers the bad ones? What are the stereotypes that are put on these girls, the pressure that comes on with it? And it was just okay. The problem for me was the timing. I think the timing was kind of off with the way that things get discovered, and also there are some like details that get thrown into the book and never picked up again, like a website. It was just kind of confusing, not for me, just kind of meh. So your next question could be, Alice, is this going to be a recurrent theme of you going away for 3 months? No. I'm back for university, so I'm going to be back, not so much with a regular schedule, but I'm going to try my best. This was just an experiment for this summer. I wanted to do something like Lord did and disappear from social media, like a disappearing act. And it proved me right, I think. because I am so distant right now from the taste that a lot of people on book Twitter that I follow have, which is wonderful. I like to see people who are very different from me, what they're reading, how they're liking it. And here and there are some gems that I find, but for now, if you want to connect with me, again, I have a Goodreads, I also have a Twitter, and I have an Amazon wishlist, which I don't use. It's just to see what I'm planning on buying. It's a fun time on Twitter. I'm going to start being active on there again, so don't worry. And I hope you're going to stay a while. It would mean the world for me. So, as always, I hope you have fun with this video. I'm back for good, and goodbye. Bye. Bye.